And welcome to the stream. I am your caster Bahamut, and we are going into another best of 3 tonight. On the left hand side we have ReGen, and on the right we have Team Awesomesauce. Braxis Holdout will be our first match of the evening here. Now, this isn't right out the bat. They're going to get rid of the Greymane. Let's just talk about him really quick while we ponder the next ban here. Greymane providing a very good solo laner on this map, and as well as I'm curious if they might be going into a Cho'Gall here. The Greymane ban right out the bat is a little worrisome to me. Also, thanks to everyone who's here in chat. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. But either way, this Greymane ban is interesting that they went straight out the gate with it. I'm wondering why they did that. I mean, maybe they just don't want to play against it. He is a strong solo laner. We typically see a 4-man in bottom with a solo laner in top, and Greymane would be one of those members that we typically would see up there. So just banning that right out the gate is strong, but at the same time, a little worrisome, because I wonder, are they trying to get rid of the Cursed Bullet against the Cho'Gall? Ariel's actually going to be banned out here, and it looks like they're going to be leaning the same way on the side of ReGen. They're saying, you know what, this is looking a little Cho'Gall-y. Let's not even let them have that. But the Tassadar actually being picked up on the side of Team Awesomesauce. Now, Tassadar is extremely strong because of the force wells he provides in these tight corridors that you have for some of these rotations, as well as he has a lot of vision that he provides, the poke that he has, and the ability to enable a lot of auto attackers. His life leech, yes, I believe it's life leech at 4. Combos well with many heroes like Tracer and Vala as well. So that is going to be interesting. Now, the Ariel ban here, I like that because that does potentially get rid of the Cho'Gall, but at the same time, Ariel is pretty good on this map. She provides a very good utility to just stay on the point and fight constantly if you have that thing to, charge that battery. So she definitely is a viable hero here, but also I just want to note, Uther is still available for picking. I'm wondering if they're going to be going into maybe an Uther and the Genji, but no, they're going to go straight into the Dahaka Genji. I like this. They're going to go ahead and claim a really good mobile hero, and the one thing that I really like about Genji, I can't even talk about these picks quickly enough. All right, so really quickly, Genji I really like because of the fact that he has the dash and the wall jump, and so he can actually rotate between top and mid really quickly because he can just dash through that boss area and be between the two beacons right away. So his responsiveness is really quick on this map, and he also has really good poke. The Dragon Blade on the shrines is extremely powerful due to the fact that people are clumped up typically, trying to be on that point together, so he does swipe and do a lot of AoE damage. Dahaka doing the same thing, providing that with his Primal Aggression. No, that's the old level 1 talent for stacking minions, I think. I can't remember, but either way, just his Dark Swarm is extremely strong because it's the same kind of thing, as well as he's a really, really strong lane pusher. Now, on the side of Team Awesomesauce, I can't even get into bans, but the Vala pairing well with the Tassadar, we kind of talked about that before. She's really good on this map during these shrine fights, and Anub'arak does provide a really good dive into those as well. Stukov will be banned out. I didn't get to talk about it, but I was actually going to say, Stukov being banned out here is extremely strong. They don't have a main healer on the side of Awesomesauce, and that AoE zoning you get from Stukov, as well as the pustule spreading you get, is really, really strong because if a lot of people are grouped up, that does spread really quickly, and if you do get the something carrier at level 16? Universal carrier, and I think it's at level 16. That can just sit there and spread forever and ever and ever. Now, I don't play support, and I don't know if that's a mandatory pickup, but that's the kind of thing that I see, and I'm just like, that should be a talent that you usually want to take on a map like this. And then Diablo being banned out on the side of Team Awesomesauce. They're looking at the current draft of ReGen and saying, all right, they don't have a main tank. Who kind of excels on this map? And Diablo, in their eyes, does that because of the fact that he does have these tight corridors, as we talked about, so he has a lot of opportunity to shadow charge people into these walls, getting that stun, as well as the overpower, which can be comboed into a Malfurion, as we saw in our stream earlier today. So those two picks, synergize very well together, and banning out the Diablo just kind of takes them out of that route. Now we're getting to the actual draft, but they're going to pick something before I can even talk about it. We got 12 seconds. They're going to need a tank, and they're going to need a healer. In my opinion, they'll leave that last spot as a flex. I was going to say they're going to take Uther. And I was actually thinking Arthas, but the Joanna here is a really, really good pickup due to the fact that she does have that blind within her kit, and that will hinder the Vala a little bit, as well as the Tassadar if he does go into that auto attack build. So that's a really, really strong pickup for their tank. And they also, I mean, they have the Dahaka for the top lane. They've got Genji for mobility. They've got Uther. I'm curious to see what they're going to be going into for that last pick. But we'll get back to that once we look at the last two for Team Awesomesauce. Now, they have a off healer, if you will, that pairs well with the Vala. They have an Anub'arak. So currently they have 3 members for their bottom lane. They're going to want to pick up a main healer. Something like a Rhaegar, I think, would fit well into their comp. The Ancestral is going to be a really, really good tool. And then maybe getting some sort of wave clear, like a Gul'dan or a Kael'thas. I think those would be extremely strong, but at the same time, they're going to actually go into the Morales Sonya. And that's interesting, because they're going to solo lane with the Sonya up against the Dahaka. Morales will be able to heal in bottom lane for quite a bit of time once she runs out of mana, but then Tassadar is still there to take over a little bit. I wonder if we're actually going to see a different laning matchup from Team Awesomesauce. I don't know if they're going to do the 1-4. Because it looks like you could run the Tassadar Vala in top. Nope, you wouldn't do that. They're going to go for the 1-4. Yeah, it's the Sonya's top lane and the rest of them are bottom. But on the side of ReGen, looking at their draft, we've got a Genji, Dahaka, Uther, Joanna. They're going to need some damage here. I personally think the Gul'dan's really good. The main reason is he has the Felflame build that he can do at level 1. Once that's empowered after 40 stacks, the damage is increased by about, I think it's 100. And that is really, really good for clearing out the Zerg wave, as well as putting a lot of poke damage out on the beacon phasing. But it's actually going to be Li Ming here. So the resets are what they're going to be aiming to get. Ooh, that skin is really creepy. Is that new? That's the new Kala version, the Protoss version of her. I looked down at Li Ming and I was like, Li Ming, there's something wrong with your eyes, girl. But no, it's her as Protoss. You know what would actually been really interesting to see? Maybe like a Zerg Raynor. Just random thought I had. But here we go into our first match of the evening on Braxis Holdout. On the left-hand side, we have ReGen with Turtles on Li Ming, Templar on Joanna, Hedgie on Dahaka, Zul'Kan on Genji, and Ragnarok on Uther. On the right-hand side, we have Team Awesomesauce with Funk Panda on Lieutenant Morales, Akash on Vala, Jimma on Anub'arak, 7U on Sonya, and Suskai, I'm sorry, on Tassadar. I should have looked at the names beforehand. But either way, we are going into this first matchup here. I really like this. I'm curious to see how top lane's going to be held, or maybe, controlled, I guess is a better word. Because Dahaka versus the Sonya is going to be interesting. Now, we do have the 5-man starting out in bottom. And what I really like about this is the fact that, yeah, the Sonya is going to be going in the top lane, and so is the Dahaka. But the reason that I actually really like this is because of the fact that they're going to get a little bit more value from that Dahaka going into the bottom lane, because they will be going up against a 4-man rather than the 5. He is going for this, what looks like a little bit of a flank there, but playing safe. At this point, though, I mean, we don't have too much happening right away. And realistically, we're just going to be playing safe in this bottom lane. We do have the Dahaka currently going up into top. I'm going to try and keep an eye on some of these health bars. And actually, it looks like Sonya's taking a little bit of damage, but nothing will yield from that. Tassadar taking a bit himself from this Genji and this Li Ming just poking into them. Genji will dash through just to get a little bit more damage onto some of these members. And this Vala is starting to fall a little bit low. Now with the Morales, she should be able to heal her right back up. Tassadar taking significant damage as well. And what I really like about this is they're putting a lot of damage out onto heroes with that Li Ming. And that's forcing Morales to constantly, put the beam onto someone, which will whittle her mana bar down quite quickly, and she'll have to go back, and then that gives the opportunity that ReGen needs in this situation. Now, on the other hand, though, we have a grenade going in the opposite direction. There is going to be this really, really strong push and hold from Team Awesomesauce due to the fact that they have that Vala and the Lieutenant Morales and the Tassadar. They're actually going to go ahead and deny that Glowbird away. Nubrak is going to burrow into the backline here. Going to be taking a significant amount of damage here from the team, but unfortunately they will not be able to yield a kill from this. They're going to have to back off, and the beacons will be starting in a few seconds here. So with that, we do have top currently being held by Team Awesomesauce. Looks like bottom is starting to go a little bit over to ReGen, but now with their Tassadar back, majority of their members did tap the well. They will be able to go onto this. Joanna is going to start, tanking a lot of this damage, making sure that they get on here. The blind does go out straight onto that Vala, so she won't be getting a lot of value. Genji is being able to deflect a lot of this damage, but the Tassadar just beaming the Joanna constantly. We do have a small skirmish happening up in top lane between the Sonya and the Dahaka. He will have to back off here. Looks like they're going to play really, really safe during this first engagement. They're not going to want to overextend. Forz did go over to the side of Team Awesomesauce just now. And we do have that Kala's Embrace. I think I called it by its old name. But either way. Is that... Yeah, Lifesteal. So it does Lifesteal, it's just I called it the wrong thing. Either way, this is going to be the first Zerg wave going over to Team Awesomesauce, and it's going to be in top lane up against this Sonya and this Dahaka. So we do have the majority of the team rotating up into that top lane for this defense. Dahaka will be burrowing into bottom. He's going to be going up against these 4 members. He needs to play extremely safe here. He does have the Whirlwind. He's going to get body blocked here, and it looks like he will be falling off the bat. Now, in this top lane, they are going to be getting this gate, and with the Dahaka falling in bottom, they're going to go ahead and probably push onto this fort. Definitely confirm that, but they should be able to save the one in top lane. Thank you for the new UI. I really like it as well. It's a lot cleaner. It provides a little bit more vision to the game, as well as it gives me nifty things like APM and XP totals. And just it has so much detail in this, and I'm glad that I made this transition today. But at this point, the Zerg wave has been cleared up in top. Dahaka is currently in bottom. I'm assuming that we're going to be seeing the Sonya rotate down here quite soon. But what I'm afraid of is that there might be a flank coming out. Nope, looks like they're going to go ahead and get this aggressive camp right away. Dahaka will scout that out. They will not be able to stop it, so they're going to go ahead and get that. They do have a little bit of an advantage here with their 7s on the side of Team Awesomesauce, but just about a level away, ReGen should be able to collect themselves. So at this point, we do have the Dahaka currently pushing back that bottom, making sure that the tower shots aren't taken away from this camp. Sonya will be confirming that camp over in top, and it looks like we're going to have just this laning matchup happening again, but they're once again on the side of ReGen going to have to play extremely safe. They don't want to be giving up a kill here too early. They want to make sure they get 7s and try and work on getting a team fight. Now, the one thing that I want to note that I didn't in draft is they picked up that Li Ming, and the only thing that I'm a little worried about is that there is the Nubarian armor from the Dahaka, which I believe he did take at level 1. Yes, he did. And I said Dahaka. I meant Nubrak. But that is going to be... That's going to counter Li Ming a little bit here. Granted, this Morales is just countering just all the damage that she can put out onto this team. She's just countering it right away. On bottom lane, we are having the Sonya pushing up against this Dahaka. It looks like their healths are actually quite similar, but she does have the wave to push up with her as well, so she'll be able to hide in that. Now, the tower shots I believe I did see in bottom are currently being whittled away, and it looks like they've pushed in this bottom quite a bit for this next Zerg wave, so Team Awesomesauce have set themselves up for a really good win here on the Zerg wave. The displacement comes up from Morales, but it will not confirm the kill onto Joanna, and that's really, really important, because if they would have got that... Excuse me. Actually, Genji coming in from the back there, getting the kill onto the Joanna. And that, or not Joanna, the Sonya. Joanna got saved, and I wanted to note that her being saved is extremely powerful because the fact that, you know, she had to hearth, yeah, and go back and get full. But at the same time, they're not going to stagger a death. They can start to, you know, aggress onto this point a little bit quicker. Dahaka, I'm assuming, will have a burrow to come on this camp. He did hearth, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him burrowing into that bottom lane. It doesn't show me. He does have it. Okay. So with that, though, we do have him going into bottom. This beacon is being captured by Team Awesomesauce. They are going to be holding it over for both sides. Now, 10s are really close for Team Awesomesauce. They need to play extremely safe here, but Dahaka did burrow into top. Li Ming did get onto the beacon as well, so they did stop the charge at 22%. Excuse me. But 10s are also here on the side of Team Awesomesauce. It looks like we have the Force Wall, the Medevac, the Strafe, Cocoon, and Sonya's still holding, but I might actually honestly be Leap. She is currently in bottom. Dahaka looks like he's rotated down there. Yep, that is going to be Leap for Sonya. So she will be going ahead and getting this camp, and this is just this seems to be Awesomesauce's map. They've got a really good control here. They seem to know their rotations for these camps, and this looks like it's going to be the second Zerg wave going over to Team Awesomesauce. Now, this bottom lane is quite pushed in. They have this Zerg wave coming in with this siege camp, and then top is going to be having actually a bruiser camp pushing into that as well. So they really need to play extremely safe here. They don't have 10s just yet. Once they do, ooh, this bush right here, they need to be extremely careful. Now, Tassadar does come out. Looks like the Joanna is going to be caught out for a quick second, but unfortunately the Force Wall won't last long enough, so they don't get a kill. Now they are starting to push into this gate. The Strafe is actually already popped right off the bat just to kind of zone them away a little bit here. The Ultralisk are moving on to this keep. Dahaka is working down that camp in top lane currently. We are having the Joanna taking quite a bit of damage. There's the Force Wall to block her out, but she will not be getting killed. Now this is going to be a keep falling here at 8 minutes, and this means that they can start aggressing onto this core. Looks like they're going to go ahead and back off and let the Zerg wave be cleared by ReGen, and they're going to rotate up and start to push onto this next keep in top lane. So with that, with the Zerg wave just being cleared up now, I'm wondering if the team is maybe going to do an aggressive... No, I thought they were going to do an aggressive engagement here, but unfortunately they won't be. Looks like Dahaka will be going into bottom lane, clearing that up. But we are going to have just another cleanup, and then we're just going to be waiting for the next beacon phase. The one thing I wanted to note here, this has been a one-death map. So all of the experience differential currently is just, honestly, I think, from the Zerg wave and the 2 forts and a keep falling down. So it's been it's been very evenly matched, but I honestly think that the comp on the side of Team Awesomesauce is just, it's really, really powerful. But we do have a burrow from the Dahaka. He's currently going on to the medic, who actually gets saved by the Joanna, who does leap out, and it looks like they're going to disengage from this. They don't end up getting the camp. Joanna is going to get force walled out for a split second, but oh, there is actually the web wrap from the Anub'arak as well, but they do end up having that being broken. Ragnarok is falling extremely low here. The Divine Shield is cast out onto the Genji at the last second, trying to get a little bit of value out of that that Dragon Blade, but they won't be able to get it, unfortunately. It's going to be Uther Ghost falling, and this is going to be a boss heading over to the side of Team Awesomesauce. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, they are going to go ahead and just clean up this push, and we're probably going to be having the Dahaka burrow in top right away just to push up against that minion wave. So we do have the rest of the team coming up here to push this back. It looks like boss will be rotating into top as well, since that is the keep lane. It's going to always try and go for the most defended lane. And they're going to want to push up with this and try and get this keep before the next Zerg wave. They do get an orb out from the Li Ming onto a few of the members. There is the Vala falling extremely low, but right away as we see, she's already back up to full health. Now this is 13 talent tier on the side of Team Awesomesauce, and ReGen need to play extremely safe here. They can fight underneath their keep. So they have that for now. They do have the Genji, who can deflect a lot of those bullets that are coming out from that boss, but we do have the shield coming out from the Joanna. She's falling extremely low here. She just popped her Iron Skin. There's the spin from the Joanna, or the Sonya onto her. The web wrap does go out onto the Uther, and I can't even keep up. Genji will be falling here. It looks like they are going to get onto this Vala, who's actually going to get shielded, and the Force Wall is going to protect her from dying. The Genji falling here doesn't spell death. It looks like they're going to back off and go ahead and get the beacons. Bottom was already captured by one of the members of ReGen, so they're going to have to go ahead and rotate and split the team up for that. Meanwhile, they're going to, at least buy a little bit of time to get onto this keep. Or excuse me, onto these beacon phases and these forts, or these camps. Man, those fights take so much out of you. But we have the team. It looks like they're going to be grouping up here. Maybe they're watching. You always have to be careful. You always have to be quiet when there's a bush. Okay, no. So they're going to go ahead and just go straight into this camp. Looks like they can't really contest this just yet, seeing as how they're off talent tiers. Tassadar is in this bush currently, kind of just providing a little bit of vision for the team. They do see that they are here. The rest of the team does jump in. The Sonya does come in. They get the kill onto the Li Ming, so that means there's no resets. The Genji is out using his blade. There is the Zerg wave currently going up into top lane. A keepless lane. Actually, all the lanes are keepless. Meanwhile, there is the Dahaka currently just trying to get onto this Morales, pulling her away from the team to make sure that they don't get the healing they need, but that is also going to be... the Genji just barely gets out with like 200 health. But at this point, it looks like they're going to go ahead and push up with this Zerg wave. Genji actually will be falling. I'm sorry, I missed that. Did he get hit by a catapult? I think so. And this looks like it's going to be the core march currently from Team Awesomesauce. So it looks like this first game is going to be going over to Team Awesomesauce. GG, well played. All right, and we're going to take a quick break while we set up the next lobby, and we will be right back. And welcome back to our second game. We are going into Tomb of the Spider Queen here. First game going over to Team Awesomesauce on Brax's Holdout. So here we go into Tomb. Now on the left-hand side, we have ReGen once again, and on the right, we have Team Awesomesauce. Tomb of the Spider Queen being such a short map, the roles that we saw in the last game might be a little bit similar because there is the same kind of rotational movement you make. In a sense, you usually draft for like a solo laner and bottom, then you draft for a 4-man rotation between top and mid. So with that, it's sort of similar in the draft sense, but you want to also prioritize wave clear on this map. This is once again also a place where Cho'Gall is a threat, but all other, on top of that, we also have specialists like Zul, Azmodan, Sylvanas. These specialists who push up the waves really well. These are the people that really start to just change this map a little bit. And you have, let's just say, this Azmodan in bottom lane pushing up. That's definitely something that you're going to want to deal with. But at the same time, you have this four-man rotation on top and mid, so you have to worry about that. Now the Tassadar is going to be banned out here. And it looks like they just don't want to deal with that once again. And actually, the Ariel is going to be banned out here right off the bat. That's interesting, because I don't know. Cho'Gall is a threat on this map, and he is a choice. That's just... I guess they're just saying, you know what, we don't want to deal with that at all. Huh. That's interesting to me. There's a low priority on Uther, it seems. But at this point, the first pick, typically on something like this, I honestly wouldn't be too surprised to see the Uther as a first pick here. Locking him down would be really beneficial to the side of ReGen. They can definitely get their healer out of the way. They could go for a secondary healer if they really wanted to, but they don't need to. Like, locking that in is just... It's an easy choice because it combos well with so many heroes. It combos well with the Stitches composition. It combos well with the Stitches Kael'thas composition, where there's just a lot of lockdown. So I honestly would maybe go for the Uther here, but they're going to pick up the Greymane first. So they're going to go ahead and potentially have him as the solo laner. He could still run with the team as a little bit of a dive hero. Now on the side of Team Awesomesauce, they're going to go ahead. Actually, they're going to get the Anub'arak once again, and I like the idea of honestly just going with the Anub'arak and the Uther here. Pick up a strong tank, pick up a strong healer. You can literally control the draft, I think, a little bit better then, because you can, as long as your hero pool is deep enough, you can definitely benefit from those two being your first picks. Because, okay, so they're gonna go Malfurion, so it didn't have to be Uther. I was just more or less getting at the point that they should probably focus a support at this point, because of the fact that there's so many assassins and there's so many people who wave clear, and well, not as many as wave clear. In the pool, that it's hard to target some of these down. So at this point, with the Malfurion and the Anub'arak already being selected, that's something that they can kind of respond a little bit more than rather control. It seems weird to say it that way, but in my head it makes sense. So these last two picks before we go into our second ban phase are really being thought out. Now, what I'm thinking is that they could just lock in their healer and probably their tank. And I'm thinking, oh, Stitch's Kael'thas. All right. So Stitch's Kael'thas is going to be running this map, and that is a really strong composition. You've got the Stitches for the hook, so you pull in the member. Currently, obviously, you don't want to get a Anub'arak, and okay. I was wondering if they're going to go for the ban onto Uther, but at the same time, the Uther, the Divine Shield Greymane is pretty strong. I was just about to make an argument for maybe Rhaegar being a priority here, but Divine Shield on Greymane is too strong. And then you also have things like the D-Storm that you could potentially pick up if you really wanted to. And that can be just a pain in the butt, mostly because of the fact that you are you have these 4-man rotations between top and mid typically. So the D-Storm is one of those things where if you can catch a few members in that rotation, Kael'thas and Greymane explode with their damage. And you get the slam from Stitches. Post 16, he typically goes for the slowdown, so that would combo well into it as well. So really, really smart ban on the side of Team Awesomesauce. But at the same time, ReGen is going to respond with a ban onto the Arthas, because currently they don't really have a solo laner. And the way their draft is going, they're probably going to be picking up a secondary tank. So the Arthas ban is a good idea here, because he does solo lane very well. He does provide a route onto some of the key members like Greymane and Kael'thas. So mitigating that kind of problem is a good idea. But it looks like we're going to have a Sonya into a Chromie. And that's interesting. So they're probably going to have the solo lane Sonya. Chromie's going to be rotating around, just sandblasting and dragon's breathing some of these guys, and it's just going to be... ouch. It's going to be very hard. These last two picks, though, I personally think that it needs to be the Rhaegar into maybe a Dahaka, or another strong solo laner like Alarak wouldn't be bad. At the same time, though, they've got a bunch of good damage. They could honestly go into Rhaegar Azmodan on this map. Azmodan, he's not picked up too often just because he's considered out of the meta, but just because it's considered out of the meta doesn't mean it doesn't work on this map. As well as actually Zul, too. Let's note that. So maybe Zul Azmodan and with a Rhaegar. We're actually going to have the Malthael here. Okay. I like the Malthael because of the fact that they are going for the Anub'arak and the Sonya, so he does have that percentile damage to get into them. I don't believe that the Nubarian armor mitigates Malthael's poison damage because it's percentile and it's not magic. But here's the Zul on the side of Team Awesomesauce, and so that's going to be the wave clear that they're going to really need here. I like this is crazy. I like this though. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. We're going into our second game here. Team Awesomesauce is currently up 1 in the standings in this best of 3 as we go into Tomb of the Spider Queen. On the left-hand side, we have ReGen with Turtles on Kael'thas, Hedgie on Malthael, Zul'Kan on Greymane, Ragnarok on Rhaegar, and Templart on Stitches. On the right-hand side, we have Team Awesomesauce with Jimma on Nubrak, Akas on Zool, Funk Panda on Malfurion, Sukia on Chromie, and Sevenu Purrs on Sonya. I believe I got that one right.
Prepare yourselves. The battle begins.
So it looks like the Greymane's going into his cocktail build. Malfurion will be providing that vision that they need. The new Barian armor is coming out, but we will answer the question, is Malthael hindered by that? I don't think so, but it definitely does hinder the Kael'thas quite a bit. Then again, I don't foresee them.
10 seconds.
I don't think they're going to really need to worry about that too much. Convection is not picked up for Kael'thas. He's going to go into Mana Addict. He's a little bit safer of a talent, and I like that. And he does provide a lot of good utility in the late game. But here we go into our first match. Or excuse me, our second match of the evening. Looks like we're going to have that Sonya going straight into bottom lane right off the bat. She's going to be just going ahead and pushing that up. There is the hook onto the Anubrak. There is the dive in from the Greymane, or the, not Greymane, from the Rhaegar. I'm going to do that all game, I know it. Malthael's actually going into bottom lane up against the Sonya, and that should be a little hard for the Sonya. Now, granted, she does have forever mana, basically, but this is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how this matchup's going to be going. Either way, though, in top lane is going to be where all action is. We do have the stun coming out from Anubrak to dive for. There is the root from the Malfurion on two of the members. Looks like this Chromie will bait towards this. Ooh, and Template will be walking into that as well. So let's just talk really quick about some of these level 1 talents. We actually have the Stitches going into the Dampen Magic, which is interesting to me. I guess it will counteract the Chromie a little bit here. But usually we see the slam off of the first talent just for that extra buff on it. And actually, excuse me, I missed that. I was trying to watch the health bars and I completely did not see it. Malthael will be cleaning up the Sonya in bottom lane. So that's going to be a strong first pick on the side of ReGen. Now, this Chromie will start to scale as the game progresses a little bit here. She did get her Bronze Talons at level 2, technically. Her level 4 talent, but this rotation is actually starting to be a little bit stronger on the side of ReGen. Granted, though, when they do clear with that Zul, there are the extra skeletal defenders, which do burn off a little bit from the towers. They do get a hook onto him, but the root comes out just to counteract it a little bit. There's the dive from the Nubrak, and they don't get any value out of that, unfortunately. Now, Chromie is currently in bottom, potentially trying to get a pick onto this Malthael, but it will not be happening. She will have to rotate back up here, help out the team, provide a little bit of vision, make sure that they're not going to be aggressing too far, as well as making sure that she can get some of these kills. Looks like they will be coming back, though, into mid. We are going to have a slight engagement. There is actually the combination from Chromie. They're really trying to focus down the Stitches extremely hard. He does have the bite off onto the Anubrak, and with the hook, they might actually be able to get the kill onto him. They do actually get the kill. So it's going to be a second kill over to ReGen, and they are really starting to just aggress on some of these teams. The Haunting Wave does come out from the Malthael, but he will be backing down into bottom lane up against the Sonya. Now, I'm curious if he's going to try and get a pick onto her or just play it safe. Looks like it's going to be the safe game for him. While we have this time, actually we're going to have the hook onto the Malfurion, but unfortunately there's the Bone Prism, which will just kind of back him off. Root goes underneath that, and that's going to be really, really hard to deal with in the late game. They're really going to need to worry about that. Now, there's Chromie doing a lot of damage here into this backline, but the Zul is falling extremely low. He will be falling here now, and that is going to be the third kill on the side of ReGen. Now, these Stitches is going to play safe here. Whew. With like 500 health for 1 second. Malfurion did get the heal onto him, but at this point, it looks like we're going to have a couple of the members tapping well. Chromie's actually already be going into her level 7 talent. And I was actually surprised she didn't go into the standard kind of Sandblast build that we typically do see. We're seeing more of just this Bronze Talons with these time traps. So at this point in the set of Team Awesomesauce, they're a little bit ahead in gems, not by much. Even with the deaths that they've had, they haven't really lost too many gems, which is very good for them. That's going to be an extremely good factor when we're going to this late game. Now, we do have the hook on to the Malfurion from the Stitches. There's a good amount of body blocking, but the Anubrak does get the stun, letting the Malfurion get out. The root was there to stone some of them away. Do they get the kill with the Greymane? Is there a cocktail? Unfortunately, Nubrak does body that damage. Stitches does turn in 22, though. So at this point, they are getting extremely close on the side of ReGen. They only need about 4 more here for this first Webweaver phase, and that's going to be happening. Now, Nubrak is going to be trying to dive onto this Malthael, who will just kind of walk around a lot of his abilities, so he'll just have to have those come back off of cooldown quite soon. Now, in bottom lane, they're actually pushing themselves really far away from the enemy team. This could potentially be devastating because of the fact that they're going into this top lane. They only have Azul to go up against. They get the hook actually onto before he goes through the gate. The bone armor is there, but they get the cocktail through the gate, and that is going to be the kill onto Azul. Now, this is extremely strong on the side of ReGen. They've got a Webweaver in mid that won't be defended. Looks like in top, it's going to be a little bit more of an aggressive push from them because there is no Zul there for that extra Bone Prism that they can combo with the Malfurion's roots, and they're going to have to back off here a little bit and play extremely safe. Sonya did go into mid to clear that out. Chromie will get a time trap onto the Rhaegar, who just kind of gets out of the way. Unfortunately, he will get comboed, but the Chromie taking so much damage. The Greymane leaping in, trying to get the kill onto her. There will not be a follow-up cocktail, unfortunately. Chromie trying to get a couple sandblasts into this from the back line here. Looks like she will be targeting down this Rhaegar, but it's not going to yield a kill. They do get the stun. Actually, the hook onto the Chromie, and this is just... Oh no, the Kael'thas chain bomb killed her at the last second. No, excuse me, actually it was the Greymane. He might have gotten a cocktail off. But that was an extremely strong push on the side of ReGen. What they did was just, it was so powerful because they got a bunch of picks, which was, they got 2, I believe, which bumped them up in experience, and then that push onto the fort was extremely strong as well. Looks like Greymane is going to be going on to this hard camp, trying to pressure up mid a little bit more, maybe get the experience they need for that level 10 talent from this camp as well. Looks like Malthael will be going in to try and get his in. He does succeed. And we will be having the 10 talents. We actually, just to note really quickly, Chromie already has hers because of her passive ability for 2 levels. She does take the Slowing Sands. We do have the Phoenix out from the Kael'thas. We have the Tormented Souls from the Malthael. But we actually have a fight currently happening in this turn-in, but Zul's going to get caught out, and that's going to be a significant amount of gems dropped, and they actually don't have enough for turn-in at this point. The hook goes out, but barely misses the Chromie. Oh, that would have just been another devastating hook. And these have been quite on point, to be honest, all night. But anyway, so let's talk about some of these talents. We have Future Bile coming out, the Tormented Souls, Cursed Bullet, as well as the Ancestral. So that's going to be... The Cursed Bullet's going to be really difficult to deal with. And now they have about a 2-level difference. They get the backline hook onto the Chromie. The Slam is out. The Cursed Bullet does come out. They are getting a significant amount of damage onto the Anubrak. The Greymane does dive in, but he unfortunately gets rooted at the last second. He has about 300 health. Stitches does use his Future Bile for the full disengage. He does get Bone Prism at the last second, though. Will be able to get out. Is there a potential for another hook? It is there, but they don't get it. Unfortunately for the Chromie, though, the Phoenix did come out at the last second. The first attack went onto her, and she will be dying. So this is just a dominating performance from ReGen. I mean, this is a completely different team than we saw in Brax's Holdout. This game feels very, very coordinated. They seem to be having a lot of good macro control at this point, and their solo lane is going a little bit better this time around. That Sonya isn't getting as much value as they did on Brax's Holdout. So maybe Braxis was just Team Awesomesauce's map, and they were like, we know we can win here, so we just have to win one more. But at this point, ReGen's really been controlling this map very well. They've been pushing up quite a bit, even against the Zul, who does scale quite a bit as this game goes on. It looks like he did go into all the W talents for those wave clears. With the Webweavers approaching, though, they're going to try and push up as mid as much as possible to make sure that they do get onto the Webweaver. The hook does go out, but it unfortunately gets the Anubrak. There is a root onto the Stitches, but there is no follow-up damage. The Curse Bolt does come out. I do not believe it connected with any of the members. And once they get this fort, they're going to go ahead and back off, and it looks like they're going to rotate into bottom, where the Malthael's already been pushing up a little bit, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a dive onto the Sonya. But we do need to note as well that we do have some of these members coming in from this top lane. Chromie will be able to poke from the shadows, but once she does show, it will probably show off the rest of the team, so they don't want to take this. So maybe ReGen is a little bit too far forward. It looks like they're going to actually come out. Nubrak, wouldn't be too surprised to see him going for the burrow underneath the wall. They're going to zone out a few of these gems, actually. They're going to have to respond to top as this middle... Or excuse me. No, they're going to stay down... They stay down bottom. Chromie's actually going to be dying there from the Kael'thas. Just popping off with all of the abilities. Just blowing up the Chromie right away. And it's just wow. This is just a completely different composition, completely different team, and this is Team Awesomesauce. They looked really, really powerful in game one, and now the tables have honestly just flipped 100%. We're currently on to keep gates for everything. They all are alive, or all up except for bottom lane. But at this point, with the double turn-in that they did take, it looks like ReGen is going to have to work on getting a few more gems and maybe also defend these altars. And it looks like they're posturing to defend the top. The Greymane will be getting the bottom camp, letting that push in a little bit here. Sonya is holding 33. Thank you so much for the follow. But with that, it looks like a few of these members are just playing extremely safe on the side of Team Awesomesauce. They don't have 13s yet. There's about a 3-level difference. And so this is just, they need to play extremely safe. They don't want to get caught out. The hook does go out, but it does only connect onto a minion. You won't be able to get that kill. Alright, and at the same time, I believe there's 83 gems on the side of Team Awesomesauce, but still, without that 13, they're trying to play extremely passively. They want to just kind of soak up the waves as they come towards them. They don't want to lane out too far forward. In this meantime, while we have that happening, let's just take a quick peek at some of these damage numbers. The Kael'thas just, as I was saying, like, the Kael'thas popping off, like, just 23,000 in hero damage. Granted, looks like he's actually competing with the Greymane, who's only about, like, excuse me, I switched that on everybody. He's only about like 1,000 or 100 points different in hero damage, so this is quite interesting. On the side of Team Awesomesauce, the siege damage from Azul is extremely high and amazing. They do get the turn at this point. The Web Weavers are quite pushed in. I'm curious to see how ReGen is going to respond to this, if they're going to prioritize one lane, if they're just going to try and take a fight, because of the fact that Team Awesomesauce, they did just get their 13, so they're going to be picking up those talents. But at the same time, with a couple wave clears, we are going to be having 16s on the side of ReGen. So I'm expecting to see a lot of the members on the side of Awesomesauce playing safe, making sure they stay away from a lot of the teammates of ReGen here. It looks like Malthael will be clearing up the mid. They are hiding in this bush, so we have to be very, very careful just not to... We don't want to say it too loudly. If you talk too loudly about the bush party, they'll find out. They're actually going to rotate really safe here. They don't see any of the enemy members on the map, so they rotate through their, they rotate through the back way really, really safe here, making sure that they don't get picked off. And I like that. I mean, that was really, really smart of them. Granted, the rest of the Awesomesauce did rotate into this mid, pushing this a little bit more, confirming most of the gate here. But with this minion wave coming up, they should be hitting 16 on the side of ReGen any second. They also have enough for turn-in, so it's something that Team Awesomesauce needs to worry about. Now, there is an invade onto this camp potentially. Looks like they're going to go ahead and confirm it. We do have the Malthael taking a significant amount of damage from this Chromie. There was actually the web wrap onto him. The Sandblast does miss. It just goes right over his head. The web wrap hasn't been burned out yet. There's a root right on top of it. The Malthael is going to get blown up before the Ancestral does connect onto him. This is also going to be the Stitches falling here as well. The Sonya is going to be dying at the same time, so this is a 2-for-1 trade. The Rhaegar is extremely low, but the healing totem does go out. Rhaegar taking that blast as he takes the second one. He gets the chain heal off, though. But without the Stitches and the Malthael here, they're going to have to turtle up and play safe. With those 2 kills in this late game, though, that did bump up the experience needed from Team Awesomesauce, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and get another turn at this point. In this game, I was talking about how it was really dominated by ReGen. It's starting to shift as we're getting to this late game. These compositions are really starting to get, I think, the assets that they need. We're actually going to be having, from the Stitches, the fishing hook. And it looks like Rhaegar's currently holding onto a 16 talent. We do have the Alpha Killer from the Greymane as well. So at this point, they're going to have to try and defend against this as best as they can. They do have 16, so they have the talent advantage for now. Hook does go out. Unfortunately, does not connect. But with that, they are going to be starting to rotate into mid on the side of Team Awesomesauce, getting this tower, which will also, with that minion wave, will give them 16. So now that they're on the even talent tier, they're going to start to be a little bit more aggressive instead of taking these passive fights, you know, just locking down a couple of heroes here and there, or maybe just catching them in a rotation or hiding in the bush on that rotation. So they can now fight it at face to face, but they're going to go ahead and say, you know what, ReGen, they've got a clear bottom. Let's go ahead and confirm the top, even up the structure race, and make sure that we have the experience, so we're just kind of catching up with them. So it looks like there will be another shielding talent on the side of ReGen. They're going to go ahead and delay this as much as they can so they can get this turn in, try and get these web weavers in. And they do that. Looks like Stitches is going to get Putrid Bile. There is a huge burrow from the Anubarak, but he does end up getting a ton of damage put onto him. Now there is so much just poison coming out from this Tormented Soul. Sonya did also leap into that backline, but we're actually going to be having two of the members of Team Awesomesauce falling here, and that is going to be a third, so that's the Zool falling. Now we do have the Rhaegar actually falling during this as well, but that's the Sonya falling also, so that's 4 for 1, and this is also the spawn of the Web Weaver. Now they are pushed back a little bit here, so this is going to be a little bit harder of a push, but granted, since they do have that wave clear, they should be able to push up this Web Weaver quite quickly and not lose too much value because of the health lost over time. Greymane is currently coming back up into this. The hook does go out, but unfortunately hits the gate. Chromie will get a Sandblast out onto the Kael'thas, but it's not going to yield enough damage. So it looks like at this point, some of the members will be up in a few seconds here, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see potentially a keep falling. The 4 members are here on the side of ReGen. They do have to go through this slowing stance, but they clear out those side gates so they can just rotate around it as if they need to in this disengage, which they're going to go ahead and take right away. They don't have their Rhaegar. The healer and the rest of the team is up on the side of Team Awesomesauce. They're going to play safe here. Nubarak does actually dive forward. They go on to the members. Oops, excuse me, sorry about that. Crucible does come out. I don't believe it connected, but Malthael comes in from the backline trying to get so much damage onto this Nubarak. He only has about 700 health, but Malthael is falling himself quite quickly. Nubarak does burrow forward and actually gets the kill onto him. And I'm wondering if they're going to be going into this because that was a 1-for-1 trade. The stun does come out from a Nubarak. They end up getting the keep in bottom from the minion wave, and it looks like they're going to do the same in top. The hook does go out into a Nubarak. He doesn't have burrow, I don't think, and they actually completely body him. And it was actually credit to the minion wave. They ended up getting that kill. But this is going to be 20s on the side of ReGen. It looks like we have the empowered Flame Strike from Kael'thas, the empowered, the Death Shroud from the Malthael, I don't know Greymane as good as I should, the Hunter's Blunderbuss on Greymane, as well as the Cannibalize on the Stitches and the Storm Shield for the Rhaegar. Now they're going to try and delay this out as much as they can. Maybe they're even going to try and fake a fight. This is interesting. Shh, we have to be quiet though because they're in a bush. You never want to be too loud when someone's in a bush. At the same time, they do want to also make sure that they wait for their Malthael here. If they do take this engagement, when they go and push up with the boss onto the core, they do have 20s. Chromie does spot it out right away, so they say, you know what, cap it. The Malthael's here. We don't need to be that surprising. But Chromie utilizing that level 1 talent, the Time Walker's Pursuit, to make sure that they don't engage or face check a bush with 4 members or something. But with this boss, and it is about a 17-minute boss here, so it is quite powerful. It looks like they're going to be pushing up with it. The Time Trap does come out from the Chromie onto the Stitches, but it does not yield any damage onto him. It looks like he'll be fine. This tower not doing too much damage, seeing as how it doesn't have any shots. This boss is starting to aggress onto the core. Now, we do have 20s on the side of ReGen, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see them really trying to push in here with this boss and trying to take this core. They have the advantage for this game, so they should be able to take it. And looks like Stitches will be using the Putrid Bile, zoning a few of the enemy members away. The Curse Bolt does come out onto the Anubarak. There's the stun from the boss onto him as well, and that's going to be the Tormented Souls, and the Stitches actually getting the kill onto there, but the Tormented Souls do come out. There's the leap from the Sonya. They're trying to get so many of the kills here, but they were actually having so many of the members die on the side of Team Awesomesauce. The boss does fall, but that's the core at 30%, and this looks like it's going to be the second game going over to ReGen. GG, well played. All right, and we're going to take a quick break while we set up the next lobby, and we will be right back. Alrighty, and welcome back to our game. We are 1-1. We are going to our game number 3 here on Cursed Hollow. On the left-hand side, we have ReGen, and on the right, we have Team Awesomesauce. Uther being banned out right off the bat, though. And that's a straightforward ban. It looks like they're going to do the same thing with this Tassadar ban here as well. That's interesting. They're going to ban out the Uther right off the bat. That's interesting. So we're going to Cursed Hollow. I mean, we've talked about Tassadar and Uther and their feasibility on these kinds of maps. So let's talk a little bit about, these maps. Like, granted, Tassadar's banned out because he's an enabler and the force walls and the lifesteal, and he pairs well with assassins. And Uther just fits in every comp. That's we've said that for a couple of these drafts. But let's talk about Cursed Hollow. Cursed Hollow being one of the biggest maps in the map pool. These rotations are very, very important. There's some camp timings you can do as well that are extremely beneficial to you. Typically, we see at like 2 minutes 20 seconds, the siege camp is usually picked up. Some teams will actually make an educated guess and invade the enemy siege camp and actually try and take a pick, because if you get that right before the first curse, which is at about 1 minute or 2 minutes 40 seconds ish, that's really, really beneficial to you. You start to get a little bit more control. You get that first pick. You take over the siege camp. It's just all these assets that go to you. And then we also see a priority on this map with globals. I would not be too surprised to see in this 1-2 slot to see a Dahaka here. Now, Ariel is being picked up, and I like Ariel on this map due to the fact that she has the hope bar. So in situations where you need to actually sit and fight on a point, Ariel is really beneficial. As long as she has her battery, she can just sit there and heal the team constantly. And so this is actually where I'm going to transition a little bit, where I was going to say I think the first 2 picks on the side of ReGen should maybe be the Greymane and the Dahaka. And the reason I'm saying Greymane here is because I feel like Team Awesomesauce wants to run a Cho'Gall. And they're getting this Ariel early, and I'm curious to see if they're going to do it this 1-2 slot and then ban him out. Or this 2-3 slot. Also, hello to everybody in chat. Thanks for coming by and watching. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. I think there's a possibility for it to be a Cho'Gall, but at the same time, we do typically see a priority of globals on this map, so there could be maybe, I was going to say maybe Falstad, but then that leaves it completely open to ban out any sort of battery like a Vala. So yeah, they're going to go ahead and get the Vala and a Nubarak here. It's a pretty strong composition on the side of Team Awesomesauce. They're really favoring that Nubarak this matchup tonight. Picking it in 3 of the 3 matches. I don't know why. OBS updated, and so I keep seeing my mic audio, and if anyone in chat can let me know, at some points my mic audio in OBS just turns red, and I'm not sure if I'm redlining or if it's just OBS doing weird new buggy things with its version 20 patch. Either way, Falstad is being hovered for the ban here, and I actually really like that because they need another assassin. They need a range. Well, they don't need a range assassin, but they need a global, and that Falstad fits into that category so well. I was going to say something along the lines of an Abathur, but I don't think the composition on the side of Awesomesauce will lend too favorably towards that. They could go into an Illidan Abathur here, but I don't think they'd be... Oh, Stitch is going to be banned out right away. That 2 seconds... I think they were just sitting there They had Stitches, they were like, select, ban, done. That Stitches last game, those hooks were just snipes, and that was so detrimental to Awesomesauce. But ReGen is we're going into our last of the picking phase here on Cursed Hollow. So they have a global. They have a high mobility closer. I think like an Arthas No, they should probably pick up a healer, actually. I'm thinking that maybe a Rhaegar into a Greymane wouldn't be a bad idea. Their Greymane last game was so good, so I would actually like to see the Greymane myself, actually, here. I think Greymane Rhaegar, and then you flex with your tank position in the last slot. Or you could just lock in Arthas and... Nope, okay, so it's going to be the Rhaegar Greymane. Cool, 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 cool. I really, really like that. The Greymane last game was extremely strong. The Rhaegar pairs well into what they've currently put together. The Ancestral is going to benefit them a whole lot. And then now they can flex off that last tank position. But at the same time, on the side of... Oh, thank you for enjoying the cast, Murda. And also, Ragnarok, thanks for being in chat. Thanks, guys. But we do actually have the Illidan Abathur! I didn't think that they'd be going into it, but holy crap. Do I get to be a god and just say this should be Arthas? Like, I'm not... I've had conversations with some people about drafting and, like, techniques and stuff. Like, the one thing I'm trying to move away from is, like, I'm trying not to play the I'm going to predict it game. I'm going to try and play the what works in this composition game. And so far, I'm nailing it on these last picks. Oh, thank you so much for the host, one Mega Man fan. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing over the extra viewers. That means a lot to me. So we do have this last slot, and the Arthas route, I think, is just so powerful. The Army of the Undead works really well for the sustain that you need during these tribute fights. Like, I think that's just what it has to be. Yes! Let me be the guy who builds your comps, I guess. No, but it's just, I was just looking at the draft. I'm trying to formulate what would work best in these situations, and it's not so much like me trying to predict it, but really just trying to see, like, what do they have, and what are they going to go into, and what are going to be the best ways to kind of react and also counter these this drafting. But the Illidan Abathur, that's going to be something that they're gonna need to worry about, because there's a lot of good clone targets. You can clone the Ariel, double Ariel, double Vala, double Anubrak, double Illidan. Like, all of those are just terrifying threats. But at this point, we are going to our game. On the left-hand side, we have ReGen with Turtles on Genji, Hedgie on Dahaka, Zul'Kan on Greymane, Ragnarok on Rhaegar, and Templar on Arthas. On the right-hand side, we have Team Awesomesauce with Akish on Illidan, Funk Panda on Ariel, Jimish on Anubrak, Saiki on the Vala, and Seven Pers on the Abathur. So let's see, we're going to go ahead and look at this one. It's a little bit more clear. So it looks like Greymane going into that cocktail build. We are going to have the immolation from the Illidan. Ariel going into the Searing Light.
10 seconds.
We do have the Vala. It doesn't look like there's anything too out of the ordinary for these drafts here.
3, 2,
Or these first picks. Dahaka will be going for the NASCAR ability. So here we go. We have the Illidan going into bottom. We have the what looks like it's going to be the Ariel Vala just sticking together right off the bat. And they're just going to go ahead and get their laning set up right away. They're not even going to worry about this middle engagement. Fun fact, I actually learned this from watching HGC. Someone pointed it out to me pointed out in the stream that the one thing that you want to watch for when you're going up in Abathur is watch the timer on his Locust, because that obviously will give you an idea of how far into the lane he is, whether he's by the gate, whether he's further back by the core or by the keep or something. So it's definitely something that you want to maintain and keep an eye on when you're playing against an Abathur, as well as being an Abathur too. You can kind of start to mess with the enemy team, trick them into thinking I'm over here, but I'm over, So definitely that's something to consider as well. And then this laning matchup, though, is currently, it's just Illidan versus... This laning matchup down here is the best, where they're just hiding in the bush against each other. But we are going to have the Dahaka going up against the Illidan. It looks like we're going to have the Genji Arthas in mid with the Abathur and the Anubrak. And in top lane, we have the Rhaegar up against the Ariel. Really like this first matchup. They also have the Abathur with these mines on the side of Team Awesomesauce. Definitely be able to scout out some of these rotations. Make sure that they do demount and slow people as they make the the transition from top to mid or mid to top. Currently, though, it looks like in bottom lane, this Illidan's, it does have the Abathur hat, and he's going up against this Dahaka. It does going to get a little bit of damage. He does pop his Essence, so he is going to have to back off right away. Now, in mid, though, I'm just going to try and pop around the map as much as I can. We do have the Abathur actually coming into bottom to provide a little bit more push and some soak, as Illidan is going to take that 2-minute camp onto the siege. Looks like Rhaegar is going to actually be doing the exact same thing. So when I said 2 minute 20, I actually meant maybe they need to finish it by 2 minute 20 to get back in position for the first curse. And so speaking about the first curse, it's going to be randomized between the middle position in the top or the middle position in the bottom. So that's definitely something that we're going to be watching for here. So it looks like it's going to be in the top position here. We do have it looks like I saw Illidan going in on this. He didn't get killed to my knowledge. He must have been chased off by the Genji Dahaka. And I apologize for that. I missed the Arthas kill there. So Arthas will be falling. It looks like they're going to get the first kill on the side of Team Awesomesauce. They do poke this Greymane for a quick second, but unfortunately they will not be able to yield enough delay for this first tribute. Granted, it looks like the Dahaka did stay in bottom, continued to push up against this Abathur, and we also do have the siege camp currently whittling down this keep gate over here, and that's really, really powerful. Now in top we are having the laning matchups coming back to kind of what they were before. Arthas will be rotating in after he works through this camp with the Rhaegar, and I just want to keep noting this right here is going to be a problem later in the game if they end up getting that fort down in bottom. Now Dahaka being able to push up so much is going to yield them what they need, but this Abathur looks like he's trying to counteract that by hatting the minions and also getting the Locusts into the lane to push up against him. In top, it's still just this Greymane versus this Vala Ariel combination, which is a little bit hard, but the Rhaegar looks like he is rotating into the top lane as well. Nope, he's going to be going to mid, I think. They're going to go ahead and just give up this gate, and the one thing that they do want to save here is they want to make sure that they don't lose their well. So this is going to be the second tribute popping up in the bottom right position of the map. And so now that we have it spawning in top middle, bottom right, I believe we can assume that the following will be top left. So look to see them kind of posture in that position for that next tribute. But they do make the rotation down here quick enough. Abathur, I don't think he spawned his mine quick enough to get this. Turtles will be able to capture that first tribute for their team. So it's going to be 1-1. And they are going to deny that curse point against the Team Awesomesauce. They are starting to chase onto this Anubrek, though, with the Dahaka. They will not be able to get the kill. They get the root through the gate, but they won't be able to get that kill. Now, the Dahaka is going to be going back into bottom lane against this Illidan, I believe. So he has Brushstalker in 40 seconds. So he should be able to utilize that for the next curse point. Abathur will have to burrow into top lane in this from this mid engagement. They started pushing onto these forts so much that he started to get a little worried. Genji just deflecting and getting out of that it was just so clean and easy for him. It just seemed like I was just like, wow, I'm so surprised that he didn't get displaced or stunned. But it looks like, oh, I was wrong. I said top left. I guess I should have said bottom left. But that will be the next curse point going in this bottom left position. We are going to have the Greymane hearthing back right away. He pushed up into the Abathur as best as he can, but he's going to hearth back, make sure he gets full mana for this engagement. They are kind of close to 10, but at the same time, I don't think they'll get it unless they get a couple kills here. Now, the Dahaka still is in bottom. Let's pull this away here for a second. He can brushstock in, and it looks like he did onto that Anubrek into that backline. They do get the kill onto him. He's currently hiding in this bush. They are starting to zone out a few of the members here. I believe he actually, yep, so he has another tongue. They will be pulling this Ariel away from the Vala. The battery is not able to charge. Now she does have she has full hope, but unfortunately the root did not connect and they did not get that kill. So we do at this point have in top lane the Abathur being a little aggressive with his positioning, trying to push up onto this fort, maybe confirm a little bit more damage onto this keep or to this fort and this well. Almost said keep there. That's not right at all. We're gonna have Rhaegar going on to that siege camp, and it looks like they're gonna go ahead and try and take. Not try. They're gonna take this boss. It looks like. And what I'm curious is if ReGen's going to be able to scout this out in time. The next tribute has spawned, and it's actually in a semi-good, semi-bad location for... Oh no, this Vala's getting rooted. Do they see this happening though? The boss does leash, and he's going to go back to full health. But unfortunately at this point, Ariel has no mana, or no hope, and Vala's really low. She's actually going to go right into this bush and get collapsed upon. That's just... And I apologize for that. Abathur, I believe, died in bottom. Yep, Dahaka must have burrowed into that once they knew that they had the curse. That will be 10s for the side of Team Awesomesauce. The Illidan does hunt into bottom, and unfortunately, the Dahaka will be able to stun him, and he also has this silence as well. This is going to be... Okay. I came down here just to see what the matchup would be, but I didn't expect there to be a kill. The isolation out of nowhere caught the... Illidan, I believe, off guard, and he didn't have any sort of way to dash to... Because I believe he took friend at 4? Yeah. So he had no ability to dash towards the gate or, you know, the sidewall or the enemy minions, or the friendly minions. So that is just an amazing pickup there. The Abathur and the Illidan kill. Now, we do have this pushback up in top. We do have the Ancestral coming out. The Web Wrap does go out onto the Rhaegar. They are trying to burn this down. There's the dash, or the hunt onto the Genji. They do get the kill onto the Arthas. This is a full disengage from ReGen. They look like they will be sacrificing the Rhaegar, unfortunately, but the Genji does get out going over that wall. And I forget about this new asset. I was just like, what stream asset do I have that's currently broken that's counting down like that? But I forgot that the new Cursed Hollow has that like counter for those for the end of the curse to really signify that it's about to end. But it looks like at this point Genji will be in this bush, kind of scouting out this boss. I wonder what they're going to do on the side of ReGen to respond, because I don't know if they can make this rotation in time, if they're just going to go ahead and try and take their boss themselves. And that looks like it's... That looks like what it's going to be. Genji should... Just play safe, Genji. What I'm afraid of is an Abathur mine going in that bush right there. He actually does dash out, and he actually gets the kill onto the Nubarak at the last second. The hunt does come out from the Illidan, though. Does he have a deflect to get away? Unfortunately, that is going to be the Genji falling. They do get the kill onto the Nubarak, and that is a little bit of experience buff, but unfortunately the Genji will be falling here. The one thing I actually didn't look, Abathur did take Ultimate Evolution. I was wondering if he took Clone, because I haven't seen a Clone or if I've seen a Monstrosity, but he did go for the Ultimate Evolution, so we should see those clones popping up in some of these these tribute points. Now, since the tribute did just happen, it looks like they're going to go ahead, push up with this boss. They have a bit of time here. They're going to try and confirm 16s for themselves. They're going to let that top boss push in itself. They're going to get the kill onto the Ariel, and this is actually really, really powerful on the side of ReGen. With that kill onto the Ariel, they definitely have a little bit more of an aggressive posture for this boss. And as I was saying earlier in the game, that siege camp that whittled down this gate, that's extremely powerful, because now they don't have those cannon shots to take away from this boss push, and they can aggress even further onto this. Looks like they're gonna be taking out the well. They get the drag onto the Vala. It looks like the root does not connect. There is a Rain of Vengeance from the Vala to stun out a couple of the members. They start to work onto this keep. There's the curse bullet out from the Greymane. They are starting to dive onto this Illidan, who actually does hunt onto the Dahaka, who tunnel claws away this Illidan, going in so deep with the clone of the Illidan. And the real one, I believe, falling to about 300 health. We are going to be losing the Greymane, but we do have the Illidan falling as well. Now, the Abathur clone does have a little bit of time left on him. He could potentially get this kill onto the Rhaegar, and it looks like that's what will be happening before the clone dies. Now, at this point, we do have... Those deaths were there, or they did happen, obviously. But at the same time, we do have Genji currently already on the point. He'll be able to capture it, sneak that away, dash away, and oh, that's just... That sucks. But at the same time, I want to note, while all that was happening, Abathur was pushing in top lane. They did get this keep gate. Dahaka will respond at this point. They do lose a little bit of health onto the keep. Not a whole lot. They do lose quite a bit of tower shots. It's about even, honestly. Keep for keep structures go over to ReGen because they still have their 2 forts and I believe gates, yeah. But that top lane is a little worrisome for more so on the side of Team Awesomesauce because of the fact that they don't have a keep, or they don't have a fort in bottom and top, and that's definitely, you know, obviously those are the boss waves or boss lanes, so pushing up into that is going to be extremely I don't know, worrisome is the right word, but you're going to want to be vigilant of your own boss timer to make sure that there's also map presence of ReGen, that they're not going to be trying to steal this in about 2 minutes. But at this point, we should be going into our next curse point. Dahaka looks like he's getting rotated on here. He does have the isolation onto the Illidan. He does pop his essence. Does he have the tunneling claws to get away? It looks like he will get in the range of his towers. Fortunately, he is going to get web wrapped. They're going to stand here and take a little bit of damage, but that is the enemy team rotating in because the curse point is right here, so they're already responding. They do get him out of that. The Ancestral does go out on him right away, so they go and try and aggress onto the enemy team. They get stunned out here. The hunt comes in onto one of the members, Genji dashing out with only a few hundred health to keep him alive. The Aegis is there just to save one of the members. Now this Illidan is trying to get so much damage with that Abathur hat. They do actually get the kill onto the Arthas. Dahaka will use his tunneling claws. They do get the kill onto the Rhaegar as well, and this is not the situation that ReGen wants to be. At the same time, though, we are having Abathur dying to the minion wave, I believe, in top. So without that hat, they're going to try and aggress onto this a little bit. Here, they do get the kill onto the Illidan, but a few of the members are falling extremely low here. They do get the curse point on the side of Team Awesomesauce. Unfortunately, the Greymane is going to be falling as well. The Genji does have the deflect, but unfortunately, Vala gets the damage out onto him. Whew. So with that, we do have this siege camp having to be responded to in top lane from the rest of the team since the Abathur did die, and he will be out for the next 15 seconds. So we'll just take a quick peek at some of these talents and look into this a little bit more. We do actually have the Earthgrass Totem from the Rhaegar, and I really like that.
Shall we see who gathers in our
It's going to be really interesting as we get into some of these fights where maybe there's a retreat or a disengage. They're going to need to worry about. But on the side of ReGen, they do have their Greymane coming up in 10 seconds. So they potentially are going to be taking this a man down. Abathur does have clone up. There is the multi-shot out from the Vala to scout this out. Genji does hop over the terrain to get the poke. He will have the shuriken for that. Unfortunately, though, he does have the deflect. Gets over the wall again. This Genji is just such a pain to deal with. They do get the curse. The hunt is out onto, actually, the Genji. The Illidan's not in a position. He dashes into the bush. Unfortunately, doesn't get to his teammate. But this curse is pretty good. They actually burned the clone right away over the gate. That was interesting to me. So now that the clone's down for the next 50 seconds, I wouldn't be too surprised to see ReGen be a little bit aggressive here. Due to the fact that there's no clone, so all they have to worry about is the hat, and that's not on anybody currently. It's just one of the things. Like it's 5v4. They have Cursed Bullet. They have, you know, all the assets in their kit that they need. But they're playing extremely safe here on the side of ReGen. Dahaka is in bottom as well. I should note that too. He is pushing up against that wave. Illidan is trying to guide in a little bit of a minion wave into this keep, trying to get that. Cursed Bullet does go out. The cocktail is there. He actually dives onto that side wall. He'll be able to get out. That will be the curse ending in 4 seconds. And unfortunately, they pushed up the waves, but they didn't get a crazy amount of experience. Now, this is going to be scouted out, but they actually do hunt out onto the Genji, and that will be a kill. The web wrap does go out onto, I believe, the Rhaegar. This is going to be the Arthas falling as well. Now, at the same time, we still have the Greymane Dahaka Rhaegar here in mid. Abathur is in top, pushing up slowly. Just he wants to play extremely safe here. Doesn't want to get caught up by the Dahaka in a bush again. So we are nearing 20 on the side of, actually for both teams. So let's just take a quick peek at some of these talents. Well, it looks like we're going to have a boss pickup on the side of Team Awesomesauce. It looks like we have the upgrade to Hunt, the Shield of Hope from Ariel, the Hive Mind from the Abathur, Rewind from the Anubarak, and the Farflight Quiver? Haha, I knew them all. But at the same time, ReGen, they're going to be getting their 20s as well. So we have the upgrade for Dragon Blade, the Apex Predator, I believe, the... I don't know Greymane well enough. I need to learn. The Hunter's Bulbless. I need to learn his talent icons. Storm Shield from the Rhaegar, and we do have the upgrade to Army of the Undead from Arthas. Now, this is an invade from the enemy team. They are trying to go into this Tahaka, and they will stun him out. They do get the boss at the last second. Curse Bullet is gone out from the Greymane, but unfortunately, it looks like they will be whittling him down before the Ancestral does connect. They do get the Root, which does slow them down a little bit here, so that is the boss currently pushing into that bottom lane. There's no gate there. It's only the keep, but it looks like they're going to say, you know what, you can take our keep. We're going to go ahead and push on to this mid. Nope, they're going to push onto the top, actually. They're going to try and... Are they going to try and end at this point? Looks like Team Awesome is trying to end with this boss currently. It is a half level... It's about half health. Arthas is taking a significant amount of damage here. He does pop his Army of the Undead, and it is the upgraded version. The Web Wrap does come out from the Anubrak onto one of the members. They are trying to burn him out of that before the core falls, but it looks like this game is going to be going over to Team Awesomesauce. GG, well played.